Now we come down to one of the most important aspects of inaugural session today, and I have the proud privilege on behalf of all of you to invite Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe to throw some light on what he thinks about.
Namaskar, very good morning to all of you. Professor Irfan Rizvi, President of FWA, Dr. Bhimarai Maitri, Director of IIM Nagpur, Dr. Sahai, I think he has gone out somewhere, Director of IIM Jammu, distinguished Vice Chancellors, Directors, Deans, faculty members, and maybe some people from industry who are associated with FWA, who are all here on this very important occasion, where FWA has organized one-day event, and two important sessions are being organized immediately after this inaugural session. Number one, how India can benefit from its demographic dividend. And much of that was spoken by both Bhimarai Maitriji as well as Sahai-ji in the past. Secondly, most important part is how do we remain relevant, and that's why skilling, upskilling, reskilling, which we often make use of those words, how are we to engage in that is the second session, which is also equally important for this very important conference on what we say employability and employment. I don't know which one will come first and second, because we have to up the ante. You all said that employment and employability was discussed 50 years ago also when I was graduating, or today also we are discussing, and also as Bhimarai Maitriji said, we will discuss later also. But nevertheless, what actions are to be taken in order to overcome those challenges which we have been observing, which we have been discussing, is the most important part of it. And national education policy has given answers to many of those issues based on our experiences. As the chairman of AICT, I started working on some of those. We cannot complete everything, but certainly to a great extent, the challenges of employment and employability, which often were discussed by industry platforms like CI, NASCOM, FICCI, and the newspapers and the surveys, showing that only 25% engineering graduates are employable, was a sad affair. So how do we make them employable? Number one, many a times industry says that your curriculum is not up to date. You are teaching 20th century curriculum or skills for the 21st century requirements. In fact, we should look forward for even 22nd century employment requirements, but we are still going back into our history. And that's why regular revision of curricula is one very important thing, where involve industry partners. Don't talk about industry institute interaction. I think that word interaction should be stopped, because meeting like this on one day in a year or inviting them for placement for one day is not good enough. We should have active partnership with industry in every aspect of the institutional functioning, starting from curriculum development, also in terms of giving students rich projects which will enrich students in terms of what industry is requiring, to variety of support systems that industry can bring, including scholarships, equipment grant, CSR, all of that. You must have a strong partnership. And I was very happy when we talk about partnerships and collaborations. IIM Jammu director rightly pointed out that one of the noblest things that whole India has to watch is when IIT Jammu, IIM Jammu and AIMS Jammu come together. You know, three of the excellent institutions of excellence, of eminence in the country, if they come together, magic will work actually. And that's why how do we collaborate with industry is a very important part. So the second part for employability enhancement is knowing what is happening in the industry, and that's where internships come in. I'm sure very few institutions in the past had this opportunity of going for internships. Again, Professor Sai mentioned about the BITS where he studied in Ranchi. But BITS Pilani had an excellent program which is called as Practice School. So looking at all of that, we decided to have a mandatory internship for all engineering students. More than 1 million students join every year. Providing them internship was not so easy. Many of them laughed at me at that point in time, said that it is impossible to provide internships to such large numbers. I also was aware that it cannot be done by a magic wand overnight, but that culture of internship has to begin. And support system has to begin. Institutions located in NCR, Delhi, or in Mumbai, or Hyderabad, or Chennai, Bangalore, Calcutta may have easy access to industry, and thereby some of their students can easily get internship. But when there are 3,400 odd colleges, similar number of polytechnics, management schools, how do you provide internship, especially to those who are located in tier 2, tier 3 towns and cities? And that was a real challenge. And therefore, we have developed a very robust internship portal, AICT's internship portal. And you can go there and see that there are 76,000 plus small and large industries who have onboarded, who provide opportunities for internship. More than about 2.5 crore students have joined this particular internship portal. We have been able to provide, not to all of them certainly, but at least 50 lakh students in the last 3-4 years. That is a magic actually. And this all is done. Bhimrai Maitri was mentioning about AI, using AI. Students may have an interest. I want to work in a place in Mumbai, but I am studying in Bihar. Maybe I've got some relatives there. I can go and stay in their house and then can do internship in Mumbai. I'm interested in automobile sector, or I'm interested in electronics, or I'm interested in banking. So how do you use AI for matchmaking by segregating students who are interested in a particular geographical domain and a subject domain, and connect that with the corresponding industry who are also looking for students from certain background? That matchmaking will make things very smoother, easier, without much difficulty, using the technology of AI which is available at our access. And that's what was being implemented. So Bhimrai ji, you also mentioned very interesting thing, that holistic development, all-round development of students, which is very, very important for students to become employable, not just scoring high marks. I have seen people with more than 70% marks, 80% marks in their graduation, but very hard to get a job sometimes. And they struggle. Whereas there is a person with hardly 55%. We have all seen 5 CGPA, 3 Idiots movie. So people like that with a lot of innovation, which is part of the mindset of the student, with that attitude, and the holistic development which one has undertaken in a university or a college, can get much better jobs, much bigger packages. Some of them become creators of the startups. All of this is possible, provided we provide ample opportunities for them to explore. And this exploration is through a variety of clubs. This is my first-hand experience in College of Engineering, Pune, where I was director prior to coming to AICTE. We had, that time, most institutions did not have more than about 4 or 5 clubs. Maybe a club for robotics, maybe a club for drones, or maybe a club for computer programming skills, something like that, or astronomy. But we had more than 32 clubs, including club for history, social sciences, psychology. People were saying that what is there to do with history, to do with sociology or psychology in an engineering college or an institution. But some of the lectures which our students were preparing and giving in those evening talks, I was attending all of them. I thought some of the best professors of humanities and social sciences probably were not able to do it. So much rich study they were doing and coming forward. Now see the enrichment of other students who are attending those particular clubs. They will get a true holistic development through peer learning, and not necessarily only from the faculty members. Today, technology enables even further. We have this platform called Swayam, MOOC platform. Many a times, in our universities, there is a curriculum structure, there is a structure where we say elective 1, elective 2, and elective 3, and so on. And under elective 1, we list out 4 or 5 courses, say that these are available. But when a student wants to take them, professor or vice chancellor or the director or the dean will say, no, this year, this semester, out of this 5, only this 1 is available, or 2 are available, remaining are not available. Because we don't have faculty in those areas. We have listed them, but we don't have people. But now here is the case where students can take a course from any institution in the country which is available on SWAYAM and get creditized and then accounted for in their curriculum. This is how we say that, Madam Namaste, you are reason for me to come here. So this is what we have empowered our students from all variety of schools and colleges and universities from remote areas. Now further, to help them, support them, some enablement through technology was also necessary. And I often, in my lectures in the last 4 or 5 months, have been often talking about this, that of creation of a unique student ID called as APAR ID. APAR stands for Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry, APAAR. And हमारे सारे भारतीय भाषाओं में अपार का मतलब अनेक, बहुत, इन्यूमरेबल ऐसा होता है. तो इसके benefits, use cases can be multiple, and that's why we have named it as APAR. This will have attached with that an account connected with Academic Bank of Credits, which we already started speaking as ABC. And in National Education Policy and beyond that, we have been talking about ABC, and now we have added APAR. APAR is an account number, and the actual account where the deposition takes place or the bank where it takes place is the Academic Bank of Credits. And this is what I call it as a Saraswati account, unlike the State Bank of India, where we deposit money, which is a Lakshmi account, and this is a Saraswati account. We have money deposited in a bank, we draw it through an ATM in any of the counters. Similarly, from the Academic Bank of Credits, we draw for using it for our certificate, diploma, or degree by doing courses from not necessarily your own institution, but from any other institution. Both UGC and AICTE have already permitted 40% of the credits to be earned from outside your own educational institution. And that's why even if your college or university do not have faculty expertise in a particular domain where student is interested in, please allow students to take courses from other institutions where they have excellent faculty available who are providing these courses through MOOC platforms such as SWAYAM. Going one step further, Ministry just about a couple of months ago, we added another flavor to this SWAYAM. It is called as SWAYAM Plus. And SWAYAM Plus is the courses from industry. Earlier, all the SWAYAM courses were only from academic institutions, especially from the best institutions, both in engineering, in management, in what we call law, medicine, architecture, humanities, social sciences. But there were no courses which were directly useful, employable, and such courses from maybe from Microsoft or Google or from small or big industry or a startup can also be accommodated on SWAYAM, and students can take those courses, and the National Credit Framework which was announced, based on that, a course of 2 credit, 3 credit, which is highly employable, can be accounted for into the Academic Bank of Credits. Now, many a times there are issues, students keep asking, our university is not allowing us to creditize those courses. I have done courses from some other institution, but they are not allowed to be accounted for into the credit framework of my university. They say that you have to do all 160 credits or 120 credits only from my college university syllabus and not from outside. We don't believe in others, we believe only ourselves. But even in that case, if a student has done that, it will still be deposited in the Academic Bank of Credits, and you can claim a verified, authentic record of your learning from sources other than your own institution, which will help you, as I said, APAR ways. for your employment, for your higher studies, and many other places where people value different things. If you have done a course on sports or music, dance, drama, or art, even those can be deposited into this account. So thereby an industry which want to create something new, innovative thing, they want some artist in an engineer. So they will look at this biodata and say that you are the most fitment guy for our industry, and therefore you will get selected automatically by discovery through the what you have achieved, you have done in your entire progress of education. And these kind of empowerments are very, very important, which are possible through the national education policy, the multidisciplinary education, holistic development. But what you have been telling about value-based education. This is also very important. We also did a very interesting mandatory course on what is known as universal human values. This is very important because all industries today are looking at students who are having high integrity. That attitude is important. How you make use of and how you are sensitive to the needs of the society, the factor of empathy, they are all looked at by the industry before they employ. And also, how do you work in teams? What leadership qualities you have? One side you have to be leader and also a team player. How do you judge all of this? And how do you create all of this? And for that, a student induction program we have suggested 3 weeks, it can be even 2 weeks, doesn't matter. The value system can be inculcated into the students through, not by force, but by introspection. The most important thing is introspection. And I am Jammu director also. Sahaji mentioned that what is important is confidence building, and also optimism is very important. How does it come from? That comes from when you sit together, work together, you realize that someone else has some traits which I do not have, but I have something which he doesn't or she doesn't have. We start sharing values, sharing our expertise, and that is the spirit of collaboration which starts building right from the first day in the college or university, and that takes you long way, both during the college days or university days and also beyond when you go for work, when you face your interviews in the industry, and when you start participating in the actual work. In all of these places, you will show those traits which are very important for progress. And therefore, when we talk about employability and employment generation, the most important part which everyone mentioned was the creation of startup culture. And this is very significant. Innovation and startup culture in all our institutions is important, and thankfully, the last 10 years have seen massive increase in the number of startups being created. Earlier only we were listening to startup from one IIT here or there. And you remember in 2014 there were only around 400 registered startups. Today the number is 1,40,000. In all the factors, in all the other areas, we say there is an increase of by 10%, 20%, 100%. I think you cannot measure in percentage here because it is 350 times more than what it was just about 10 years ago. And although we say it is the third largest ecosystem, I think we are already inching towards the second largest startup ecosystem in the world. And also in terms of innovation, we were 81st position just about 8-9 years ago, and today we stand at 39th position in the Global Innovation Index. Thanks to one other program which we started, Innovation Cells in every college and university, and also Smart India Hackathon, through which problem solving, engagement with industry, teamwork, and diversity. Please remember that our whole exercise of Smart India Hackathon was every team of 6 people must have at least one woman candidate. If all 6 women candidates are there, we will welcome. But if you don't have a lady, you are not allowed. I think that is the progress. And today, in the gross enrollment ratio, more than 50% of the students in higher education are women. Some time ago, we were talking about women bringing into the higher education. Second one, I go to convocations in almost all parts of the country. There may be even 40%, 30% girl students in that college, but the number of gold medals received by the girls are 70% to 80% and boys only 20%. So I think what Maitriji was saying, that we are inching towards third largest economy. Vikasit Bharat by 2047 has such, and also the demographic dividend which we are going to discuss, all of this will propel us possibly to become the largest economy by 2047. And that is visible. These changes are very dynamic, and the kind of resilience that India has shown, the flexibility that India has shown during pandemic is amazing. No other country in the world was able to really propel through. All the economies went down. We immediately surged up again. I think that resilience is also very, very important for all of us. And our value system, our culture, our traditions, all of them hand in hand, along with our Indian knowledge system, innovation, spirit. I'm sure no one can stop India from doing that. But by saying so, I would like to also reiterate one last important thing, that even though we may become the largest economy, the most developed country in the world, our ethos, our philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu, we will not go and capture other land and subjugate other countries of the world. We will in fact propel them up, help them up, and that spirit was shown through COVID vaccine being given free of cost by our country, and no other country did it. I think these are some of the most important value systems which also we should embed in our students. Sometimes because of the Western influence, maybe our students are dithering. I think that is where our role as leaders is very important, in order to bring them up, give them this dose, this medicine. And as I said, degrees also should have validity, you know. Otherwise, we will think that we have earned the degree and we will be happily placed. It is not going to happen. The technologies are changing, things are changing. We must become lifelong learners. And if we have to become lifelong learners, first teachers and educators and directors should become lifelong learners. Then they can teach our students to be lifelong learners. Thank you very much. Namaskar.